All right, hello there. So very quickly, this is going to be a short one, under 10 minutes today, talking about one major misconception that athletes have about visual performance and a couple of little news and notes items. So the first news item is that at the top of the hour here, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, May 20th, Andy Roddick and the SwingVision people are going to be on Clubhouse talking about SwingVision and its future. It's a very important visual tool for sure. I am getting started with it myself and fumbling around trying to get it figured out exactly right, but definitely working really hard to do that before summer when I'm having more of a high volume of instruction. So that's coming up at the top of the hour. If you're on Clubhouse, get on there and check that out. All you have to do is look up Andy Roddick and you should be able to find that. News item number 2 is tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to be speaking to the largest audience that I have ever spoken to. It's going to be 1,000 young athletes, and I'm very excited about that. And we're going to talk about the top 3 misconceptions that athletes have about visual performance, and we're also going to talk about a couple other things. I've got some filler items that are good info. But right now, let's dig into one major misconception that athletes have, and this also applies to parents and coaches. So people believe somehow that everybody sees the way they see, which is actually not true. And so just from a very easy common sense standpoint, then it's important to consider that if somebody's standing over there and you're standing over here, they see something different than what you see. That's common sense, right? But, and then, hello, Ram. Nice to see you there. Thank you for your comment. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But anyway, and so that was Ram making a comment on YouTube, which I really appreciate. I haven't seen those pop up before. That's brand new for me. Anyway, so Dr. Cheryl Calder, who's one of the top visual researchers and trainers in the world, has tested 100,000 athletes and found that no two have exactly the same visual performance profile, meaning everybody has different capacities for seeing. Now, let's say you're in a team sport and you're expecting everyone to see just like you, and they're expecting you to see just like them. Well, there can be some really bad misunderstandings that come from that. So some people are going to be better up close. Some people are going to be better seeing things coming from farther away. So the best thing to do is communicate about these different things. I see things differently for you. So when I see the thing that you need to be triggered by, I'll send you the signal now, go, or whatever. So work together as a team and realize that people have different capacities. A quarterback's got to be able to see the whole field. If they don't, then there's a major problem right there. And then perhaps a wide receiver needs to be a lot more focused on being able to see the ball coming out of the quarterback's hands. There are a lot of different skills that go into this. A baseball catcher also has to be able to scan the whole field and see if people are out of position and reposition them and whatnot. That's an important skill. A goalie in soccer has got to be able to scan the whole field as well, whereas individual players might need to have better skills in tight with, being able to find little holes and cracks in the defense. So, it's a very wide difference. Now, in tennis, one of the most important things is to understand whether you are pure dextral or cross dextral. And this applies to all athletes, but pure dextral means that you are right eye dominant and right-handed. or left eye dominant and left-handed. Cross-dextral is the opposite. I am left eye dominant and right-handed. So this is a cross, right? And then the opposite is true, right? So if you go right eye to left hand, that's cross. And there are different visual skills that you use in the last phase of the flight of the ball from the bounce into the strings that makes a big difference in how cleanly you're going to hit the ball. So whatever sport you play, if you understand that your teammates and your opposition don't see the way you see exactly, then you start to understand that you can communicate what you do see and help your teammates that have a weakness where you're strong, and your teammates can help you to have, to use their strength where you're weak. And you can work together to communicate better as to what's going on. Now, coaches, you can't assume that any of your players see exactly what you see. And I'll leave you with this story. This comes from Steve Chandler, who's a good friend of Lute Olson, who's a national championship basketball coach. So in the midst of practice, the ball's being passed around, and all of a sudden Lute blows the whistle. So, and that's the signal for everybody to freeze, to just stop where you are. So Lute says, "Mike, what do you see?" Right? And then Mike looks around and he says, "Oh, somebody's open right there, and I could have passed it to him, and we'd have an easy bucket right there." So here's what didn't happen. Lute didn't blow the whistle and go, "Damn it, Mike, you're supposed to pass it to the other guy right now." So instead, what he did is he allowed Mike to discover his own vision, and then to realize that at that moment he wasn't fully engaged with the angles and the opportunities on the court. So then what does that do? It affirms Mike, because he's got a right answer. He can see now what's going on, and then boop, then they go right back to playing. And that's incredibly wise coaching from a coach who realizes that his players got to discover how to see that, and he wants to facilitate that learning. So anyway, right now it's time for me to get on Clubhouse and engage in this conversation about SwingVision. But consider that your student doesn't see what you see. Ask them, what do they see? And try to discover how is it that they best, latch on to the things that are happening in their field of vision, and what are they paying attention to, and help guide them into paying attention to the right things that will help them. All right, so thanks for listening, and I sure hope that I can get a hold of this video from the presentation tonight, because if I can, then I will post that on my YouTube channel. All right, thanks for watching.